Good morning, horrible human beings. The hero, another, and fighting the war episode. Uh, it's been a minute because I've spent so much time and had so much fun doing the little political strategist things that been putting out. It's hilarious. I think it's some of the best writing ever. But I wanted to get back. It allowed for horrible human beings to become a little bit more serious with the topics and the things we're discussing. So I was talking to a good friend of mine. It's good to have different friends from different walks of life and cultures because they cue you into things you might not have known about. And I didn't know that after World War II ended in 1945, there was a Japanese soldier named Hiro Onoda. I'm pretty sure I'm mispronouncing his name, but he was stationed in one of the islands. I want to say Galapagos, but I'm probably wrong about that. But it was a remote island that when America was going to war with Japan, they dropped the bomb. He was a second lieutenant. He got stationed out there. Um, and he got sent there with a letter from his commanding officer that said, "You are forbidden from dying and taking your own life. Not just taking your own life, but you're forbidden from dying, and by dying by taking your own life. And someone will be out there to get you. Defend this island." So he stayed on that island for 29 more years after the war had been over. It almost became a myth that somebody like he people say, well, he couldn't have survived more than a year or two without no rations or munitions because nobody was sending him nothing. The man not only defended the island tooth and nail with no weapons anymore. I guess he's using rocks and sticks or whatever at bow and arrow. But people didn't go to the island because they weren't sure what was going on, but they knew something crazy was happening. And he did that for 29 years up until 1974, where another gentleman, I want to say from Japan, but I think maybe he was from San Francisco, he heard about the rumor. He went out and found him. And Hero wouldn't even leave when they told him, the war has been over for almost 30 years now. Japan has rebuilt from after the bomb. Time has moved on. Luckily, his commanding officer was still alive, and they was able to go and get him. And he came, talked him down, and the rest is history. And Hero was able to live a regular life. Believe it or not, he only died 10 years ago. So he lived. He was born in 1922, and he only died in 2014. So he lived a long life. But for 29 years, round off the 30 years of his life, he missed it because he was stuck fighting something that didn't exist anymore. And he was so entrenched he didn't believe it. It made me think about how many years of our life we lose from fighting wars or having mentalities and perspectives that are over. How often we can be stuck with something this from our past. It could be from teenage years, it can be from 10, 15, 20 years ago or whatever, but that's your personal war. You keep fighting it, you keep fighting it, and the war's been over. Time is moving on, and at the end of the day, like I heard, we're all in line to die. We don't know the guy next to you uh, could be ready to go before you. You don't know if you're ready to go before your mother. Who knows? But we're definitely all standing in line waiting to die. So we shouldn't waste any time. But fighting wars that really don't exist over things that honestly don't even matter. Those are 30 years out of Hero's life we won't get back. The easiest analogy is somebody who gets locked up and you lose that time in your life or before you get to experience life and you know move on in your journey. It specifically made me think about a homeboy, we'll call him C, who C's one of them dudes that some people get shot once and die tragically, and then other people get shot 2 to 5 times a year and always survive and will always get shot the next year, once, twice, but always survive miraculously, like he got a mutant power. But the homeboy C was a good, genuine, and still is good, genuine dude. But he has spent so much time in the streets and so much time um, doing skid bids here and there and long stretches, 8 years here, maybe 2 right there. So his mentality was so prisoned out that one time we in the mall and there was children with us. I didn't have kids then, but I know he did. We was sitting at a food court, and I remember I was getting up to go order something, and somebody else who was in the mall had got up, and they by the time they went to the line, they had gotten in front of me, but they didn't know because I was standing. I think maybe I was counting my money or whatever. So when I realized it, and I tell the guy, hey, I was right here. Before the guy could even react, C jumped out in front of the kids, everything. I swear to God, yo, he whipped out a, I want to say he whipped a bayonet out. He whipped the knife out faster than them knives come out Wolverine's hand. Because he played with the knives and definitely played with the pistols. But this guy keep a knife on him like a Navy SEAL all the time. And so it turned from a situation of telling the dude, yo, you got in front of me, to telling him, see, you got to relax, yo, calm down. No, yo, we out in the public mall. It ain't worth it. It ain't worth it. The other dude is frightened like a skeleton because this has ratcheted to a level he wasn't even aware that he jumped in front of anybody, I believe. But it just made me think that your mind is conditioned because you fighting a war on a prison yard for respect and preference and a bunch of other factors that doesn't exist anymore. You out with your children at a food court and you about to kill somebody over a Cinnabon. But it ain't. That's an easy example. The other examples is when you be in relationships or anything in a turmoil that you give so much time to. You fight it for so long. When you get out of it, I'm keeping this mind state from this toxic relationship I've been in. Well, what good would I be to another relationship, or what good am I really to myself if my mentality has basically been sitting on an island fighting a war that don't exist. When you come out into society, you got to reacclimate, and at the end of the day, you don't know what place in line you are when it's your time to die. But all you know is that it definitely will be coming. So time is the real currency and the real value. I'm realizing, but it was a really dope story. Learned about Hiro Onoda fighting World War II 30 years after it ended. Horrible human beings, peace be well.